Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to talk to you about how we work with managers, and really just give some of you it'll be a sort of a recap of the process. Others you'll be hearing it for the first time. I think, as Pete said, we've got a high conviction approach that results in just 86 preferred managers in all of these different asset classes that we list here. But I think the important thing I want to get across is that we throw the net as wide as we can. So we want to ensure that we've encapsulated every strategy possible when we actually embark on a search. We don't want to miss people out. And so as you can see here in stage one of this sort of three-step process, we've looked at something like 1,600 managers, full due diligence on around 450, and then ultimately that ends up in about 86 preferred managers. So it's high conviction, but we're deliberately trying to find the best we can. We're not reacting to product push. We're actually going out and searching for the best thing. So how do we do that? Well, we've got a three-step process. Stage one is that screening that I was talking about. So there's a number of factors that we can look at. Things like assets under management are an obvious one, but we can also drill into the portfolio itself. So we could look for things like active share or tracking error or something like that, and we can screen out things that don't fit the requirements for that particular list that we happen to be working on. Once we've got a manageable number of strategies that we want to look at, we move into stage two. That's selection. Now, selection is about trying to figure out the advantages that a manager may have over their peer group. So if a manager is better than their peers at doing certain things, then that ultimately should lead to better outcomes. So there's a number of things that we look for. I suspect most of you are aware of most of these. You might not be aware that we've changed one of them in recent times. We've added ESG as an advantage. So we'll now assess a manager on their ESG capability regardless of whether the kind of end client is interested in ESG or not. And Honor's going to take us through our current thinking in ESG in a minute. And then stage three, we have monitoring. So this is our forward-looking assessment. This is us trying to think about what could go wrong with this strategy. And I'm going to take you through that in a little bit more detail in a sec. So ratings. We've made a slight tweak here as well, which I'm going to explain. So preferred, I'm sure you're aware, is our top rating. So that's the best managers we think are available in a given asset class. That's only a handful that are going to have that rating. Approved is now what we used to refer to as retained. We didn't feel the word retained quite conveyed the conviction that we actually have in these strategies. So we do think they're above average. We are happy for clients to invest in them. So we just changed the naming slightly to signify that. The other category we used to have was not rated. So that now we've split into two. So we hopefully this will make it a bit clearer. We've now got not approved and we've got not researched. Not approved means we have looked at it. We don't think it's of sufficient quality for our clients to be in it, or it's sort of average. Not researched is obviously, we literally haven't looked at it. And then strategic hold is a new term. So that's probably a not approved manager, but where a client is holding it for strategy purposes and we're happy. So we thought after 4 years of this process being in place, it was a good time to have a look at that red radar function, that forward-looking assessment, and see whether that's worked or not. And so we've downgraded about 13 managers over that 4-year period from preferred rather, down to either not rated or approved. And 75% of those, that top left donut there, have been preempted by our red radar process. So we think that's a pretty good validation of the work that we've done up front, trying to think about how things could go wrong. Obviously, you're not going to get every single one right. And there has been some downgrades that have been for non-red radar purposes, but we feel that's a pretty good sign that we're doing things right. And finally, we thought it would be useful just to sort of give you guys some help in terms of how to work with us, some do's and don'ts. So on the do side, we're very keen for you to understand that process that I just put up. It's a three-stage process. So long as your products are in databases like eVestment, Financial Express, we will look at them, we will see them. So do please appreciate that. Keep us in the loop with new developments. If you've just hired a new team, just launched a new product, just let us know. We'd like to get in early on stuff. Put us in front of the key decision makers. Product specialists have their place, but we need to know who's making the decisions. We need to look at their eyes, and we need to ask them the questions. And we're going to get much more conviction in the strategy if we meet the real decision makers. Do ask for feedback, but remember it's a process, and there's a start and a finish to the process. It's much better for you to get that feedback at the end when we can make a much more considered assessment of your particular product. And be a partner. We don't run our own money. We're not going to run back to our desk and rip off all the IP that you've just handed over in the meeting. It can be a genuine partnership. Your clients are our clients, and we can put on a united front. Don'ts. So don't product push. We have our process. There's certain things that we're looking for at a certain point in time. Just be wary of that. Don't scattergun. You might have 100 interesting things, but just let us know the ones that we're actually looking at that point in time. And don't spring new ideas on our clients before telling us first. We really hate that. So that's it from me.